Now that the job interview is done, you can breathe a sigh of relief. And while it might feel like the hardest part is over, what you do after a job interview can be just as important as what you did to get up to this moment. So let's take a look at after the interview as we help you along on your job quest. Yo everyone, it's Matt from Project Rebuild, and if you want to increase your chances to get that job, what you do after the interview can be just as important as every other step you've taken so far. One of the first things you'll want to take care of is sending an email or a thank you note to the person that you interviewed with. In order to do this, you want to make sure that you got their contact information during the interview, so be sure to do that. You'll need their first and last name, their job title, and either an email address or their physical address. This note's gonna both show your gratitude and reiterate why you'd be the best person for the job. So whether you do it via email or you put the pen to paper, you wanna make sure you got all the details correct. And while some people say that a handwritten note is the best way to reach out because it's more personal, others say it might take too long in the mail, and if they make their decision quickly, it won't reach the interviewer quickly enough to make an impact. The decision is yours on how you wanna send your note of thanks, but make sure it gets done either way. If you decide to do things via email, it's okay to send it the next business day. But if you're gonna send it through the mail, make sure it gets to the post office the same day that you had your interview. And if you're gonna send something handwritten, make sure it's as neat as possible and looks professional. No matter which style you go with, you should reiterate your gratitude, restate why you'd be a great candidate for the job, and include your contact information. You're gonna wanna check and double check for spelling and grammatical errors and make sure that everything comes off as professional. Remember, every interaction you have with this company should shine a positive light on who you are. Something you'll wanna do after you send your thank you notes out is to reflect on the job interview. So the next day, take a little bit of time, look back on the interview, and give yourself an honest evaluation. Be honest with yourself about what went well and where you can improve. Taking some notes can help you organize your thoughts and get ready for the next interview you have, whether it's with this company or someone else. Take the time to try to remember all the questions you were asked and how you responded to them. But remember, you have to be honest during this evaluation. If you judge yourself too harshly, you're not going to give yourself credit for what went right. And if you're too easy on yourself, you're not going to find any areas to improve on. And while it's important to reflect back on how you performed in the actual interview, you'll also want to take some time and reflect back on how you prepared for the interview. So now you've sent out your notes and you've reflected on the interview, next comes one of the hardest steps of the interview process, and that's patiently waiting. While you might be ready to start your new job tomorrow, the hiring process is not based off of your timeline. The general rule of thumb is to wait at least a week before you reach out to that company, and some people recommend you wait as long as 2 weeks. This can be a tough pill for people to swallow, especially if they're eager to get to work. So our advice is while you're waiting to hear back about a job, make sure you keep applying for jobs. Even though you've done your best throughout the interview process, you still might not get that job. So don't let time slip by without pursuing other opportunities. This is also why you don't want to quit your current job if you have one until an official offer has been made. If you've waited a week and you haven't heard anything back, then it's probably time to reach out either via phone or email. No matter which route you go, make sure that any communication you have with the business shines a positive light on yourself. Be professional, be grateful, and be polite no matter what you hear. They might say the process is still ongoing, or they might say that they've decided to move forward with another candidate. Or they might say that they want another interview with you. Or they might say that you just got the job. No matter what, remain professional. And if you are offered the job, congratulations. You're probably really excited, and you should be. You've got to make sure you get all the details correct though, so make sure you know when your first day is and what you need to have prepared for it. Also, let them know if you're currently employed and that you'll need to offer your current job the customary 2 weeks notice. If your current employer doesn't want you to finish out your 2 weeks, that's their decision, but at least give them the option. And your new job will appreciate the fact that you're acting so professional as you leave your last place of employment. Or maybe you weren't offered the job, maybe you were asked to come in for a second interview. That's awesome news too. You've moved forward to the next steps, so it's time to get back to work when it comes to preparations. Follow the same steps that we outlined in our video about before the interview, but get ready to dive deeper. You'll want to come to the second job interview with even more relevant examples and details about why you'd be the perfect person for the job. And while you can wear the same thing from the first interview, some people might recommend that you wear something different. But one thing you're definitely going to want to freshen up is your talking points. So make sure you have new ideas, examples, and details. So don't just rely on your previous preparations to try to get you through a second interview. A second or even third job interview is not uncommon, and it could be with the same person or it could be with somebody brand new. And let's consider something you might not want to. What if you don't get this job? It's okay. Everybody has been passed up for job opportunities before, and it's not the end of the world. Just because the company decided to go another way, that doesn't take away from your value and your potential. While dealing with rejection is hard, you can't let it be something that derails you. No matter how much you wanted or needed that job, there are other opportunities that exist beyond that one. You have no idea what went into the evaluation process and who the other candidates were, so it's not always your fault. But you do want to be honest with yourself so you can learn from the experience. Use this as an opportunity to grow. Don't be bitter, be better. This is where you're going to want to try to adopt a growth mindset and look at this challenge as an opportunity to grow, not as a defeat. And make sure to not burn bridges. Even though you might be upset or angry, don't allow that to cloud your judgment. You might want to send an angry email letting that person know they've made the biggest mistake of their life, but don't. If the person they hired doesn't end up working out, or there are opportunities that open up in the future, employers often consider previous applicants. So remain a professional no matter what. So like we said in the beginning, job interviews are both challenging and stressful. But the more you prepare for them and the more you do them, the better you'll get at them. So hit the subscribe button so when we dive deeper into job interviews, you'll have everything you need to keep moving forward on your job quest.